Hello and welcome to my kitchen. Welcome back to the channel. It's soaking wet outside. And of course, since it's soaking wet, I decided might as well do something inside. I have a batch of bread made. I have a video on making homemade bread. I'll leave a card at the end of the video in case you're inclined to watch how I make my homemade bread. And since I harvested the beets the other day, it's best to pickle your beets. The fresher the better. And I'll show you why. Here's my bucket full of beets that you've seen before. And since I didn't wash them when I picked them up, I just put them in the bucket. I have to wash them now. If I had a big container, like a laundry tub or something, to wash them, it may go faster. But I'm stuck now washing them one at a time. But I'll give you a little closer now. When you're boiling beets, I left this top here. That reduces the amount of dye that bleeds out of the beet when you're cooking it. And the same for the bottom. You leave it somewhat of a stem on there at least. Now remember, we can't fill this pot completely full because we're going to cover them with water. Then we're going to bring them to a boil. They are going to be, some of the dye will bleed out and we're going to have a mess as it is. But if I filled it right to the top, I'd have a real big mess. Just plain water. We don't need to add any salt or anything at this point. There, that's good. Now put them on there to boil. I already did one batch. As you can see, I have 8 bottles. So for this batch I need to sterilize 8 more bottles. Take off the lids. I always store them with lids on so that I don't get anything in the bottles while they're stored. Inspect the seal. Seal's good. I'm going to fill them up. And then I can put them directly like this down into the water bath canner. There I have 8 bottles. That's all my canner takes. And I'm going to put the lids down like that and hope that they stay on top. Guess it's not serious if they don't. If they do stay up here, you see, it'll be easier to get them out afterwards. And as I said, I'll bring this to a boil imagining that I am water bath canning something, boil it for 10 minutes, and then I'll take them out. No, they didn't stay up there, that's okay, I'll get them out. But of course, yep, we'll take these and pour the water down the sink. Because if I pour the water down the sink, when I put the bottles back in with the beets in them, then it'll be 1 inch above the bottles. Now this pot has been boiling for quite a while now. It came to a boil long before the bottles did, and you can see the mess that it's made. So you can imagine if I had this right full. And that's why I have a whole t-shirt on, because I thought, wait a minute, beet juice stains. See, a fork goes in them easily, they're done. Take them from there. I put this dipper down into the sink, and I'll pour off some water. That is to reserve 2 cups worth of beet juice that I'll need later. Then I'll put that back there. If you're over about 30-35 years old, I guess, I don't know when they stopped this, but straining things out this way was popular when I was growing up. Now people are afraid of scalding themselves with steam if they do that. So I put cold water in to cool these beets off now. Basically what I'll do is I'll fill it up, let it overflow a bit, and if the water doesn't get very warm, then I'll know the beets have cooled down. I have my pot filled up. Cutting board here with it slightly slanted in toward the pot. Put something under the edge if you need to. And I've got my compost bucket here. Now I quickly peel the skin off on there. This one I want to cut the slices in half. When the beets are cooked, you just squeeze the beet and it'll slide right out, leaving the skin in your hand. The skin just slips right off when you squeeze it. Now of course this part's up to you. I like to slice my beets and if they're about this size, then I'll cut the slice in half. Now this is just a small, the end piece, so and then I drop them in that bottle. As I was saying, when I was harvesting them, need to find one here now. It's not even the smallest ones, like this. You can get a beet from it. You see, I just squeezed it, and you've got that little beet that you throw directly in the bottle, and there's less work in getting that little morsel of food than there is in shucking peas, because of course they're cooked with the rest of the beets. So some people would like to quarter them. How big do you have the beets? Doesn't matter. You can quarter them up, like put them up in little squares like you find in the store if you want. It's a matter of personal preference. Now, I mentioned that I was going to tell you why you want the beets fresh. So, as I just showed you, all the peel slides right off. And just the peel. Remember, I had a bag that had those beets in it that I harvested back in August? Well, I cooked them up in the first batch, but I did save a couple. And they were hard, but the piece that I had left on here, that deteriorated. It was completely gone. And when I go to peel them, on the bottom it's still peeled fine, but up here it's not peeling. And a bit down around the side there. So I have to take my knife and actually peel this off. And while I'm doing it, of course, I'm losing part of the beet. But this part here is hard. See, and it's still hard there. So I lost almost half that beet because it was deteriorating from the top down. Sometimes it deteriorates on this end, but usually it's just on that stem end. This is another one from the older beets, so let's see what this one does. Most of the peel is not coming off, so I have to use my knife to practically peel the entire beet. Doesn't seem like it's gone very far. Yeah, it's not very far inside, but the peel is not coming off, so I'm losing part of the beet because I have to, like I said, use the knife to peel it. There's a little hard spot right there. It doesn't matter how small you cut the beets, really. The larger you cut them, of course, the longer it will take for the pickling brine to actually get through them. I didn't get 8 bottles filled this time. Didn't put enough beets in the pot. Oh well. I'm going to put 2 cups of the beet juice in here. didn't get quite a full cup full, so I gotta put in a little bit extra. 4 cups of white vinegar. And this is a recipe for sweeter beets. Put in 2 cups of white sugar. 2 tablespoons of pickling salt. Now I'll turn that on and wait for it to come to a boil. Back over here, I'll take some cloves and put just a few cloves in each bottle. Even though I'm not sealing this half one, I'm just going to put it in the fridge. I'll put some cloves in with it anyway. Now the brine is boiling. I'll take the pot and put it down there. And then I can fill up each bottle just to the top of the beets, which is just up to the start of the neck. So the beets are barely covered. Make sure you wipe the top of each bottle to make sure there's nothing there to compromise the seal. See, I feel a slight disturbance. I had to make sure I wiped off on that one. Put all your lids on. You're just putting them on lightly, not tight. Then you'll take it and put it in there. I'll turn on the element underneath that now while I'm putting them in. Now, because I'm only putting 7 bottles in there, that water is not quite enough. I'll have to add a little more to make it approximately an inch over the bottles. Like so, and now we wait again. That has to come to a boil and boil for 10 minutes. Now we've had them boiling for 10 minutes. We'll take them out and put them over there with the rest of them. Even though some of them are sealed, I will tighten down the lids because I don't want any air to be leaking in. Wait till they're cool and they'll get the maximum seal. When they're cool, these here were done a while ago, I can loosen the lid, and that way if the seal should be compromised or the contents go bad, I won't end up with the false seal that they talk about. So I've got these lids, rings, loosened. I store the rings with the bottles because, well, I got to store them somewhere. And so I just loosen them and store them like that. And so that's pickled beets. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you in the next one.